Thank you for joining us. My name is Dr. Alan List. I'm the President and CEO of Moffitt Cancer Center, and I'd like to welcome you to our 13th annual Moffitt Day here in the state capitol. And if you look around here, you're going to see that there's a lot of activity about Moffitt here in the state capitol today. Just 30 minutes ago, we had 25 cyclists come in on our Cure on Wheels team, coming in right over here, making a trek from Tampa that started on Sunday morning here to Tallahassee, 325 miles, a 4-day trip. And congratulations to all of them. They really had to endure some very difficult weather. We also have here today 50 Speak Out for Moffitt volunteers. These are patients, family members, advocates, and many of our Moffitt staff that are here today as well. And they're here really to meet with some of our representatives from their local area and just to share their stories about what we are doing here at Moffitt for the state. It's also, Moffitt Day is important because it highlights a serious health problem, and that's cancer. If you look at Florida alone, we have the #2 incidence in cancer in the United States. It's the #2 cause of death in Florida as well. So it remains a major public health issue even here in the state of Florida. You know, the state legislature established Moffitt about 31 years ago, 1986, with the intention to help to prevent and cure cancer, and also give all the citizens in Florida access to the best cancer care and research that was possible. And I can tell you we've had tremendous growth since then. It was only because of the partnership with the state that we were able to accomplish everything that we have. And we thank the state for all of that support. So our volumes have grown tremendously. Last year we saw over 62,000 patients, 22,000 new patients. And those patients come from every county in Florida, every state in the United States, and over 130 countries around the globe. And the reason they come here is they're seeking expertise, not just in patient care, but obviously in research. And research and our innovation is what drives the new opportunities and the new cures for patients with cancer. And there have been a lot of exciting advances, not just in the last 30 years, but particularly in the last 6 months or more. So hopefully you've seen a lot of the national headlines about the impact of immunotherapy, particularly CAR T-cell therapy, which is cellular immunotherapies. This is the first of its kind to have a genetically manipulated immune cells from the patient that can potentially cure an individual with a refractory non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Fred Locke at our institution had led these national trials. It received FDA approval in October. We've already treated more than all the other centers in the United States combined, and they're coming from all around the world. And that recognition is also recognized nationally. U.S. News and World Report ranks us among the top cancer centers and the cancer hospitals, I should say, in the United States. We are certainly ranked by them as the top and the only comprehensive cancer center here in Florida, but the top ranked not only in Florida, but in all of the southeastern United States as well. Moffitt's also a training institution. We educate more than 2,000 students annually. That includes PhDs and postdocs, but also fellows and residents and medical students as well. And that's important because when we look ahead with the growing burden of cancer, with the aging of the baby boomers, in just 2 years, by 2020, we'll have only half of the oncologists that we need to be able to manage our patients with cancer. So the educational part of what we do is growing, and the need and the demand is important. We could not have achieved what we have accomplished here at Moffitt without the state's support. And we're here today to again ask for their investment going forward. You know, at Moffitt, we are a team-based cancer center. So if you look at what we do on the research side, it's team-based. If you look in the clinical side, our departments are based upon disease where we bring every discipline together, whether you're a surgeon, pathologist, medical oncologist, you name it, everyone that comes together to opine on what's the best for that patient with that specific disease. And I can tell you, we consider the governor and our legislature part of our team as well, because without them, we cannot accomplish our mission and then help all the millions of patients in Florida and around the country that we've been able to help. So one of those Floridians is Julianne Finger. She had mantle cell lymphoma. and she is a lymphoma survivor. But this is a disease that typically affects men. So when she became ill and her physicians were having difficulty making a diagnosis, she sought expertise at Moffitt. And she's here to join us today to share her story. Julia?
Thank you, Dr. List. My Aunt Marie died from lung cancer, my Uncle Bill from testicular cancer, my grandmother from ovarian cancer, my father from acute leukemia. I stand before you the only member of my family that has survived this disease. In September of 2007, I was diagnosed with mantle cell lymphoma, stage 4. It involved my lymph nodes, my spleen, and my bone marrow. It was aggressive and it was widespread. I was recommended to a local oncologist by my physician. I was new to the area and I really didn't know about Moffitt, but I will tell you something, I learned very quickly, but it almost cost me my life. I went in for chemotherapy in a locally based hospital, and after a 4-day coma from being septic and from having pneumonia, my doctor told me that I had 90 days to live, that I should gather my family together, and that we should celebrate the season early because I would not live to see Christmas. He gave my husband a card to the local, the local hospice. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember the word. He gave my husband a card to hospice and told them that they would see me through my remaining days. When I got home, after 2 days of discharge, I remembered that that oncologist had not diagnosed me. I remembered that they had sent it to Moffitt and they had diagnosed me. So I made a call to the hematologist and he has said, be in my office at 9 tomorrow morning. And I was. When we walked into the building, we could tell that there was an entirely different atmosphere. The people there were cheerful. They acted as part of a team. They were welcoming. And when we walked into our office, my hematologist sat and talked with me about what my options would be, including clinical trials. We chose to have an allogeneic bone marrow transplant from an unrelated donor. As I went through treatment with them, I realized that I was being supported by an entire team, so much different than what I'd had before. I had therapists, dietitians, lab people, clergy, people from the social work area, people that you would never think would be possible to have gathered under one roof. The treatment that I received was more than outstanding. During my appointment with my oncologist, he said one thing to me that I will never forget. He said, I cannot promise you a cure, but what I can promise you is that I will walk through this with you and that I will help you every step of the way. I can promise you hope. When we left that office, we were holding hands with tears in our eyes because he had offered us something no one else had. He had offered us hope. And that is not something that I was used to. He didn't give up on me. He offered us the most important thing possible. It was only later that I learned that I was in the hands of a world-renowned hematologist. I wasn't in Kansas anymore. In April of 2009, I entered my second remission, and I underwent the transplant that I'd been told I would never live to see. Professionally, I hold a nursing degree. I did not specialize in oncology, but I do know quality, knowledge, and passion when I see it. The more my husband and I talked, the more that we realized that our decision had absolutely been the right one For some reason I didn't make it, I know that I had been treated at the best of the best and not settled for less if I had to journey from this life early. Because I did receive my treatment at Moffitt, I have had 9 more years to see my grandchildren grow. I have had 9 more years to see 6 grandchildren born, including Felix, Bo, Joe, Clara, Violet, and Alex. Best of all, I've had 9 more years to live with my husband, and he is the solar system and the anchor of my life. After I was done with my transplant, he came out of retirement, went to school, and became a nurse. I too am back to work as a nurse now because of Moffitt Cancer Center. Thank you, Mr. Moffitt, from the bottom of my heart, for seeing a need 30 years ago and doing something about it. One person's initiative can change the world, and because of you, countless lives have been saved. Thank you for never settling for anything less than the best. You have no idea how much you mean. Thank you.
Thank you, Julianne, for sharing that inspiring story. And I think that those particular words at the end that were meant for Lee, I think are ones that continue to resonate with everybody at Moffitt, and that is any one person can make a difference. And you saw how that one doctor made a difference for her and how Lee's made a difference for so many different patients. So thank you again. So I also like to thank our 25 cyclists, again, for braving that cold weather and 325 miles. Also, our 50 Speak Out for Moffitt volunteers that are here in the Capitol with us today. And I want to thank all of you today for joining us, and thank you for your support and for all you do in helping us in our mission. Thank you.